All right, so I had a dream. It's January the 25th. I woke up about 3 a.m. and it's now 3:33. And I didn't want to forget this dream because it's quite important. In my dream, I had gone to some kind of spiritual worker, some kind of spiritual worker. And I was sitting at this person's table in their house, and they had a person sitting in their house that was kind of like a security guard, which I thought was very, very strange. And maybe they worked as security guard, but they also looked like they were guarding this person. And so this person who was doing my interpretation, it was a black lady. It was all black people. And she was trying to get me to read her notes. And she was trying to get me to read this book. And I was like, I downloaded that book for free online. And she said, well, you're not supposed to do that with this book because you're supposed to pay $10 for this book. And I was like, well, I downloaded it for free. And then I didn't give her any more money. She was trying to get me to give her money. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Then she tried to get me to read her notes. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Then she started reading the notes to me. And I was like, yeah, okay, I don't agree with that. Like everything she was doing, I was just like, no, I'm not interested. I don't even know why I was at this person's house. It was pretty strange. And it didn't look like, it looked kind of like an apartment. So she would read a line to me, and she would say something like, do you understand? I said, no, I don't get that. Every single time. She would say something else, look at her paper, which I could clearly see was in cursive. And then she would look at me and say, do you understand that? And I said, no, I don't get that. No, I don't think so. This went on for quite a while. You know, she would read a line and I would say, no, I don't think so. Like to everything, literally everything. No, I don't think so. Every single time she spoke. And I was like, well, why am I even in this place, right? Because it's got the security guard here. It's like, can I leave? So it's kind of like, it was a table we were sitting at, like a kitchen table. And, but you couldn't see a TV. And it was just kind of like a regular, kind of room like you would feel like comfortable in. And so she's trying to get me to agree to whatever it is she's saying. And I don't remember what she was saying, but I do remember being like, no, I don't think so. No, I don't think that's right. Nah, not so much. Like everything she said, I just disregarded. She was kind of like maybe like a middle-aged woman, a little bit older than me, just regular looking. I think what was surprising is just how regular looking everything was. Almost like it was trying to get me in my dream to feel comfortable enough to go along with this nonsense. And I was just blocking it down because I remember I had seen a video where a girl said, if in your dreams they try to get you to read a book or they try to get you to read a statement, you just disagree. You just say, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. So every time she tried to put something to me, I just literally kept saying no. I was being like, oh, you have to buy this book. It's $10. No, I'm not buying that book. I just downloaded it for free on the internet. Well, it's not going to work. Okay, I'm not worried about that. What you got to say? Like, just trying to figure out what in the world I was even doing there. It's very, very, very strange. So after a while, she was like, okay, well, I have to go. You sit right there and I'll be back. And she just like disappeared. She was gone. And so the other person I was sitting in the house with, they were still sitting there. They were in their, like their, what do you call it? Uniform. Like they were security. They were still sitting there. And I was like, well, how long am I going to sit here? She's like, well, she just started trying to make small talk with me or whatever and distract me from the fact that I was still sitting in this room. And so then I feel like I started cleaning the room. Like it looked dirty. So I just started cleaning up, like just moving stuff around, just generally being disruptive. Because I was like, man, I got to get out of this place. I don't understand what's going on. And then all of a sudden, the woman who was trying to get me to do stuff, her sister came in. And she was working at like Wendy's or McDonald's or something like that. And she was like, man, I can't believe this. It's going to be a storm that comes tomorrow. And I'm not sure about going to work and this and that. And she proceeds to give me this whole story about, what's going to happen to her car. It's going to, there's something like 10 inches of rain or something that's going to cover her car and whatever. And I was like, well, why don't you just leave your car here and take Uber? Like, if this is on high ground, because I realized we're in an apartment building, kind of like remind me of apartment back home because it was real tall. And I was like, well, why don't you just leave your car here and take Uber? And then you don't have to worry about your car getting into the rain. And she was like, oh, that's a good idea because I think I was to say her sister or her daughter here was going to work. So then I looked closer at the girl's uniform and it was a daggone fast food uniform. It wasn't even security. And I was like, okay. Then I was like, well, what happened to the other lady? And then all of a sudden she called. And it was like I could see her talking to the other lady. And apparently this lady was in jail. Like she had called, I don't know what happened, but when she left out, she went back to jail because she was in jail. She went back to jail, literally back to jail. And she was calling from jail talking about some, well, I won't be back tonight, y'all go ahead. Y'all can sleep in my bed or whatever. And so I was like, I had told the other lady, so while this conversation is going on, I was like, let me see your car. And she was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll show it to you. So we get up and we leave out of the apartment, and it's kind of like on a ramp. And then after that, I woke up. And whoever that was that tried to get me to sign a contract in my sleep, you're in trouble. Don't do that. Don't do that. You can't you're not about to get me like that. 9 times out of 10, you got yourself in way bigger trouble than you even expected, trying to get me to read and sign a contract in my daggone sleep. And anybody else, I'm putting this into the ley line, anybody else who tried to come in my dream and convince me that I have to read something, sign something, accept something, my willpower is strong even in my sleep. You're not going to, you should just stop, because whatever is protecting me is going to get you. Don't do that. That's why I'm putting this into the ley line. So people can know if you have a dream and they try and get you to sign a contract, read a book, buy a book like they try to get me to do, you need to say no. You need to have it. This is why it's not, I don't want to say this. I'm going to say it anyway. This is why it's not good standard operating procedure to buy every book. This is why it's not. Because some books you should buy and some books you should not buy. I do not think it is good standard operating procedure to buy every book. You need to understand that when you buy that book, you're making a transaction. You're making a transaction for that information. And sometimes that transaction can be a contract. You have no idea. You're not sure. When you get to urge to buy the books, you buy the books. When you don't just buy books because people say you ought to buy books. You need to have books. You don't. Sometimes you want to go and get the free version because maybe whatever you're buying in that book, you don't want that in your spirit. And you won't know until you go and try and get the free copy and you look at it. Then you decide, okay, this is a book that resonates with me. Let me go buy this, especially these more esoteric books. Like Bardon's book, I'm never, ever buying that book. I'm sorry. I disagree completely, entirely with anybody who says you got to buy that book. I'm not ever buying that book because I'm not ever agreeing to the contract of how Bardon says to invoke those spirits. Therefore, I'm not buying that book. Books I do agree with, I bought all the books of remembrance. Just so you know, just the difference. I bought all the books of remembrance. I have all of them, all the ones available. I bought the Keys of Enoch. I have that. Now, I don't even really use the Keys of Enoch like that, but I do have it. I bought all of those, the Book of Immediate Magic and the Book of Magical Psalms and all of that. I bought all of those books, all the ones that were available. Okay, I have those books. You know, other books I'm not going to buy. I'm going to review it first to see if it's a book that I want in my energy field. A physical book has a physical energy. And so it's, you know, if the Most High, the Mother, the angels bring you a book and say you need to buy this book, absolutely you buy it. But if somebody on the internet tells you you must buy a book, don't buy it until, I had bought the Black Poet all the way in the middle of the summer. I forgot I bought it. It was gone. It was disappeared from me. And then when I was cleaning up some stuff, I found it. And I guess that was the time for me to read it. I did not read it until I found that book, and that was in October. I had bought it all the way in the middle of the summer, which tells me I had no business buying it, you know, until the time was, until I got the urge to read it. But I had bought it because somebody said, you need to buy this book and just have it there. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree. This is just what happened in my dream is exactly why I don't agree with it. Because people will use the fact that you bought their books as a way to siphon your energy. When you get something, of course you want to, you know, cleanse it and all of that. But that's not what that is either. That's not what that is. Once you get to a certain level, these are spiritual transactions. Even a transaction of spending the money is a spiritual transaction. It's because money is a contract. Money is a contract. People don't understand what money is. It's a contract. It's a note. It's a negotiable instrument. It's a contract. And when even spending money is an indication that you're agreed to entering into the contract. There's no way to get around that. So you buy books when you get the urge to buy books. And you ask and you use your pendulum and you double check and you triple check before you decide to buy a book. We're at that level now. We're at that level because really, to be honest, everything that you need to have, and I'm going to tell you this because this is how I operate. Everything that you need to have, you can get for free on the internet. Now, the angels will have to decipher it for you. And that's why you have, I am going to offer a physical product, a physical book, a physical poster. However, it's going to also be available on the internet for free. It's going to be a free version somewhere, just like my Spirit Intelligence workbook. It's a free version of the worksheets. They're not in a book form. It's not as neat, fancy or whatever, but I have a physical version available on the internet. It's a reason for that. It's a reason for that because the information, I learned this a long time ago, and I know people don't understand it because they haven't been into the spiritual sphere as long as I have. So I know people don't understand this. But when you have a product that's secret, a secret product, a secret book, a secret thing that you're working on, and it's secret, what happens is there's a spirit attached to that. And when you have that secret thing that you're working on, right? Here's what happens. The spirit that's over that, it goes and notifies the other entities that you have something that is secret. Now, this is not the same as private. Private is different. I'm talking about secret. So they go and notify the other entities that you have a secret thing that you're working on. And then they take that secret thing and then they try to get it from you whatever way they can. The number one way they get stuff from people is through the use of the government, i.e. the copyright office, i.e. the patent office, i.e. the trademark office. They come and they use their long arm of the government to take those secret things from you. And then they take it. And then once they take it, they use it whatever way they want to use. Now, when you have stuff that's in the public, they don't want public things either. So if you literally put it in the public sphere, then they don't want that, because that's not a secret thing. Now, if you have a private thing, they can't touch it. They can't touch it. And what does private mean? Private is something that you don't necessarily release to the public. You don't necessarily put in the public, but it's not secret. You're not working on it secretly. It's not a secret thing. Like, what's a good example of that? The difference between public and private and secret. Okay, so for example, if you have a something that you invented, right? And you take that thing that you invented, you're working on it privately, right? You're working on it privately, which means if someone asks what you're working on, you tell them, oh, I'm just working on this project. I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. That's private. That's just, okay, I'm not going to, necessarily disclose every details, but I don't have a secret project. It's not a secret what I'm doing. It's not a secret. It's just private. They can't touch private. Private is private. They can't touch private. Now, what's public? If you take that item that you invented and you put all the designs for free on the internet somewhere, just post it. Now that's public. It makes it useless to the entities that delve into secret. Now, if you take that, if in the course of working on your private project, you discover a way to make free energy or something like that, but you don't want to give it away for free. You want to charge people for it. So let's say maybe you're working on some kind of generator, and then all of a sudden you figure out if you do this like this generator is going to give out free energy and this and that. Now it becomes a secret when you say, okay, I'm not going to share this with anybody. I got this knowledge. I'm not going to tell anybody, because if anybody else gets this knowledge, they're going to misuse it. If anybody else gets this knowledge, they're going to, someone else is going to bring it to market first, and they're going to charge people and this and that. So I'm just going to have this thing that's secret. And then to protect my secret, I'm going to involve the public government. To protect the secret, I'm going to involve the entirely public government that's nothing but demon possessed. And I'm going to tell the public government about my little secret that I've stumbled across while I was working on something else. And so then you proceed to tell the public government your private secret. Well, now you have a contract of your private secret with the public government, and the government may decide to confiscate your secret. The government may decide to confiscate your secret. And then what? Then what's going to happen? Now you have a contract, a blood contract, basically with the government. This is why you can't have secrets like that. You don't want to have a secret. What is a better way to do this? I have talked with a sister about this several times, and it is 100% true. The best thing to do is to be first to market with a product. When you are first to market with a product, what happens is you create yourself as you're leveraging the public by putting it in the public, but you're also leveraging the private, because the whole concept of it being private is that you're not putting necessarily the entire how and all of that on the internet. You're just saying, well, that's a private matter, and you protect that privately. What's a private process for protecting something? Well, mailing it to yourself. That's a private process, for protecting your idea. That's a private process. So you don't need you know, copyrights. You just protect it privately because you just have to establish that it was yours first. You were first to market with that product. If someone else tries to use your exact same product, which they would have at that point stolen from you, then you can prove that they're wrong. If you have to deal with this in a courtroom, which, I highly recommend that you don't. It's much better to charge these people, use the private process, and keep it completely private. Force them to go into arbitration over who invented this thing first, and they'll probably ignore you, and then they're bound to the terms of the arbitration. A much better way of dealing with this, and it's a private process that doesn't involve the public government, who their goal is to tax you. So when you involve the public government, you're basically informing them that they need to be taxing you on something. And so that's what the difference is. Private is just something that you just don't share publicly. That's literally what private is. But it's not a secret. It's no everything is hush hush, and when you lie about it, when you get into, I guess I will call it sinning, I guess, to protect an idea, literally like just lying that it doesn't exist, lying that, that's not what you saw, all kinds of stuff. Then you're calling in those entities into your stuff. But if you just say, look, I would just not talking about that. That's just not a thing that I talk about, or you talk about it in general terms. Oh, like me, I do readings and stuff, I do angel readings, that's just what I do. And another thing about these books, especially these spiritual books, they stole all the information from us. Why am I going to pay for something that my ancestor left for me? I'm sorry, I don't understand that. Again, some things I do buy because it's helpful to have a physical copy of, but it's only because after I find a digital copy, basically, because if it's information that these people stole from my ancestors, then I should be able to find a digital copy free first. And in my experience, that has been the case. That hasn't been the case. I've always been an avid book buyer. I mean, anybody would tell you, even as a small child, I had a lot of books, physical books. I would always buy books, always. And that is one way of dealing with things. But now, as an older person, I have come to decipher that that's not really the way that you want to deal with it. You want books, absolutely, but you want to be careful about just blanket buying books just because someone talks about it. I'm going to go out and buy this book because someone talks about it. You better read what's in that book first. You better know what's in that book first, and you better use your pendulum and ask your guardian angel if that's a book that you can buy. Always do a self-check. And people are not going to like this, but it is what it is. Always do a self-check. Always do a double-check. Always do it, because you may have these entities start popping up in your dreams trying to get you to agree to stuff, and your willpower better say, you better have it ingrained in your mind, man, I don't buy nothing without checking. I don't spend, I don't even spend $1 without checking with my angels to make sure that's $1 that I need to spend the way that I'm about to spend it. And they'll let you know, once you develop that relationship, they'll let you know, oh yeah, you need to do this. Like I woke up, that's why I didn't record this right after I woke up, because when I woke up, I remembered, oh, I need to pay this, I need to pay that. And I went in and I made my payments. Then I did my mantra, and I was like, oh man, I need to record this dream because people need to understand what's going on. So I am going to post this. I need to get this into the ley line. Stop trying to bring me contracts in my dream, son. Just don't do it. We ain't rocking like that. We ain't rocking like that. I'm going to always say no. I'm going to always say no, because number one, I don't buy books just to be buying them. If I can get them free on the internet, I will read them first, and then I will decide from that point if it's a book I need to purchase. Number two, I don't sign contracts. I don't read contracts in my dream. I don't sign contracts. You read it, and I will agree or disagree. And that's on you, because you're not supposed to be doing that to me. So stay out of my dreams. Stop attacking me. You find yourself in a lot of trouble a lot of trouble for trying to get me like that. And wherever you are, whatever jail you're in, I hope you stay there. Don't attack me in my dreams. Shalom, everyone.